Did you know that 66% of millennials have nothing saved for retirement? Now that's a shocking statistic. In the world of finance, millennials seem to be a peculiar case. They've been labeled as the spendthrift generation, often prioritizing experiences over savings. But is this the whole story? Not quite. You see, the financial landscape millennials find themselves in is vastly different from that of their parents. With crippling student loans, skyrocketing housing prices, and a volatile job market, it's no wonder millennials face unique financial challenges. But it's not all gloom and doom. Many millennials are showing resilience, finding innovative ways to navigate their financial hurdles. From side hustles to minimalist living, they're rewriting the rulebook on money management. But before you judge, let's dive deeper into the world of millennials and their younger counterparts, the Gen Z. Because as you'll see, these digital natives have their own surprising financial realities to contend with. So why are millennials struggling to save? Let's take a closer look. You see, a kaleidoscope of factors is at play here. Let's start with student loans, the notorious shadow that looms over many millennials. With the cost of education skyrocketing over the past few decades, millennials are graduating with an average student loan debt that makes your eyes water. This mountain of debt is not only a burden, but a barrier, keeping millennials from stashing away their hard-earned cash. Next up, let's talk about the cost of living. It's no secret that it's been climbing up and away like a runaway balloon. Rent, groceries, healthcare, you name it, and it probably costs more than it did for the previous generations. This, coupled with the fact that wages have been about as stagnant as a forgotten pond, makes for a perfect storm. Millennials are paddling hard, but it feels like they're stuck in a financial whirlpool, doesn't it? And let's not forget about the job market. It's been a roller coaster ride, with the Great Recession and the pandemic throwing curveballs at millennials. Job security feels like a myth from a bygone era, and without that steady income, how can one plan for the future, let alone save for it? Now sprinkle in some societal pressure to keep up with the Joneses, and you've got yourself a recipe for financial stress. The digital age has ushered in a culture of instant gratification and comparison, making it even harder for millennials to resist the siren call of consumerism. But before we paint too grim a picture, let's acknowledge the resilience of millennials. They are the avocado toast-loving, gig economy-thriving, side-hustling generation that refuses to be defined by their financial struggles. They are finding creative ways to navigate this financial maze, from pursuing financial literacy to embracing minimalism. So yes, millennials are finding it tough to save, but it's not for lack of trying. It's a complex web of economic and societal factors that have put them in this position. It's a tough world for millennials, but what about Gen Z? Are they faring any better? Let's delve into that in our next segment. Stay tuned. Meet Gen Z, the youngest generation in our workforce. They may be young, but their financial habits are surprisingly conservative. Let's delve into the financial habits of Gen Z. This generation, raised in the shadow of the Great Recession, has a tendency to prioritize saving over spending. In fact, a report by the Center for Generational Kinetics found that a whopping 60% of Gen Z is already saving for retirement. Yes, you heard it right. They're saving for their golden years while still in their green years. Now let's talk about Gen Z's approach to investing, which can best be described as cautious. Unlike their risk-taking millennial predecessors, Gen Zers aren't too keen on putting their hard-earned money into volatile markets. According to a study by the National Bureau of Economic Research, less than 10% of Gen Zers hold individual stocks. Instead, they prefer to stick to safer investment options, like bonds and high-yield savings accounts. But why is Gen Z so cautious? Well, having witnessed their parents and older siblings struggle through the 2008 financial crisis, Gen Zers have developed a somewhat skeptical view of the financial system. They've seen firsthand the potential pitfalls of risky investments and have decided to play it safe. Gen Z's conservative financial habits also extend to their spending. Unlike millennials, who are known for their love of experiences and willingness to spend on them, Gen Zers are more likely to save their money for a rainy day. But here's the million-dollar question. Is Gen Z's conservative approach to finance a good thing? Well, it certainly has its benefits. For one, it's helping Gen Z build a solid financial foundation at a young age. However, it's also possible that Gen Z's risk aversion could limit their financial growth in the long run. So it seems Gen Z is playing it safe when it comes to money, but is that the best approach? The answer to that question might not be as clear-cut as it seems. Like with many things in life, it's all about balance, and that's something we're going to explore in the next scene, so stick around. Now that we've taken a closer look at both generations, how do they stack up against each other? Let's delve into the nitty-gritty of comparative analysis. First up, the Millennials. They came of age during the Great Recession, shaping their financial habits into a blend of caution and innovation. They are the pioneers of the gig economy, turning side hustles into mainstream income sources. This generation is all about diversification, not putting all their eggs in one basket. However, they could do a bit better with saving for the future. This is where the Gen Z steps in. Gen Z, the digital natives, are remarkably savvy about saving. They witnessed the financial hardships of their millennial predecessors and adapted. They are the squirrel generation, stashing away as much as they can for the rainy days. But here's the catch. Their aversion to financial risk sometimes holds them back from potentially lucrative investment opportunities. Now let's talk about spending habits. Millennials, often criticized for their fondness for experiences over material goods, do indeed have a flair for the experiential. Their spending leans towards travel, dining, and personal growth. Gen Z, on the other hand, is a bit more pragmatic. They are more likely to spend on education and items that have a long-term value. In terms of financial literacy, both generations are adept at using technology to manage their finances. Millennials paved the way for digital banking, while Gen Z is taking it a step further with cryptocurrency and peer-to-peer transactions. So, what's the takeaway here? Each generation has its strengths and weaknesses. Millennials' willingness to diversify income and spend on experiences can be an inspiration for Gen Z, who might benefit from taking calculated risks and enjoying the present. Conversely, millennials could learn a thing or two from Gen Z's saving habits and pragmatic spending. As you can see, both generations have their unique approaches to money, but what can they learn from each other? Well, that's the beauty of it. By understanding each other's financial habits, they can borrow the best of both worlds, forging a path to a more secure financial future. Despite their differences, millennials and Gen Z have a lot to learn from each other. Let's explore how. Millennials, often dubbed the experience generation, value experiences over material possessions. This has led to a trend of spending on travel, dining out, and other experiences. However, this lifestyle can sometimes lead to a precarious financial situation. Now looking at Gen Z, we see a shift towards a more conservative approach to spending. They're the savings generation, if you will, who are starting to save money earlier than their predecessors. Millennials, it's time to take a page out of the Gen Z playbook. Start prioritizing savings and consider cutting back on those experiences if they're draining your wallet. It's not about giving up what you love, but about finding a balance that ensures financial stability. Now Gen Z, you've got the savings part down, but there's a lesson to be learned from millennials too. They've lived through the Great Recession and the student loan crisis, and have learned the hard way about the importance of managing debt. So while you're saving, also focus on being debt-free. Avoid unnecessary loans, and if you do have loans, make a plan to pay them off as quickly as possible. But it's not all about saving and paying off debt. Both generations can benefit from investing. Millennials, you might have been burnt by the recession, but don't let that scare you off. And Gen Z, don't let your risk aversion keep you from the potential gains of the stock market. Remember, investing is a long-term game. Start small, learn as you go, and let your money work for you. And finally, never stop learning about money. Stay informed about financial trends and advice. Use technology to your advantage. There are countless apps and online resources that can help you manage your money, invest, and save. So whether you're a millennial or a Gen Z, remember this: financial success is not about which generation you belong to, but how you manage your money. Happy saving!